Hey y'all, Jamie here, proud 55-year-old trans woman from New Orleans. So, where last I left off, I had gotten out of jail from the drunk tank with my best friend Terry, or one of my best friends, Terry. And when I got out of the jail, there was good old Officer Butchie, who I had gone out on a date with, and we had kind of flirted with the idea of becoming a couple. Listen, Butchie became a friend. Butchie became a friend. A friend that was very flirtatious, mind you. And I'm not saying that, listen, I'm not saying that nothing ever happened between me and Butchie. I'm just saying that we came to an understanding that we were going to be friends, you know. And listen, I felt safer out on Santa Monica when I knew he was cruising in the area, especially after he came to my rescue with the Crips that time, you know. Butchie was a good guy. So he brought us home that night. That was all that happened with that. And then I started noticing over the next, very recently, very soon after that, I started noticing that I was getting a rash. And I was getting a rash around my elbow. It started around my elbow on my right arm. And it started to get a little worse and a little worse. And then I started noticing it popping up in a couple of other areas, like around my joints and stuff. So Puerto Rican Tracy and I, she was going to walk with me. Me and Terry and Bobby Joe, we were all, you know, we were there at the hotel, and Tracy was like, girl, come on, we're going to go to the drugstore and we're going to try to, you know, see what we can get for you. And so we went to the drugstore to try to get like rash cream, you know. And I didn't know what the hell to use. I had had really bad rashes when I was a very young child, and it was eczema. And I had had, like when I was a little kid, I had to bathe in oatmeal for a solid year. The rashes were so bad. So this was scaring me. It was breaking out like that again, and I had not had that since I was a child. And I gotta be honest, something started to like tick in my brain, because in those days, if you got sick, like mysteriously sick, you couldn't help but wonder. And so Tracy and I go to the drugstore, and we get some rash cream. And on the way back to the hotel this particular day, I'll never forget this man pulled over, and we're on Sunset. So on Sunset, they're expecting cis girls. They're not expecting trans girls. And the guy picks us up, and, you know, we're like, yeah, we're staying down the street at the Beverly Sunset. And so he gives us a ride back to the hotel, and we go in, and we take him to the room to make some money off of him. Yeah, even with all of that going on, I was like, we got to make money. And then when we got into the room, I don't know really what got into me, but the guy was like, God, I can't wait to see y'all naked. I just can't wait to see you fucking naked. And I was like, oh, really? You really want to see us naked, huh? And Tracy was like, girl. And I said, girl, he said he wants to see us naked. We got the money, of course, up front. Every good hoe does. And so I'm telling her, girl, the man said he wants to see us naked, girl. And she was like, she's giving me the look because we know he didn't know. So y'all, I stripped down and I pulled my pants and my underwear down and just, ta-da! And this man was like, he was so horrified. He was so horrified. The look on his face was just like, and I started busting out laughing. I started busting out laughing. And listen, that's not the only time I ever did that to somebody. For some reason, as a teenager, I thought that was hilarious to do to men. But I guess in hindsight, probably not so cool nowadays. Like, I wouldn't do that nowadays, knowing what I know now. But yes, as a baby trans running around, girl, I thought that shit was hilarious. So yeah, time kept going on, and the rashes, they grew. And they kept growing. And they got to a point where it was too embarrassing for me to go out anymore. I couldn't pull dates. I couldn't. It was on my chest. It was on my legs. It was around my knees and my elbows and on my hands. And it was everywhere. And I started freaking out. And Terry and the girls started taking care of me. And they started supporting me. And this went on, we're talking weeks, you know. that this was going on. And it, like, the rashes started scabbing over green and black, and you could press my arm and like green and bloody pus would ooze out of my arm, and anywhere you started touching the rashes on me, it got like that. Bobby Joe got so scared and so weirded out that she actually called back to New Orleans and told people there that I had gotten AIDS and was dying. And I did, listen, that honestly, that really wasn't what was going on at that particular time. That just was not happening. But it was eczema. It was eczema, but it was scary. It was terrifying. And I thought I might be dying at that time. I really did. So Terry and I book an appointment at General Hospital, the real General Hospital from the soap operas, LA County Hospital. And we go there, and I'm in the dermatology department. And they come in to give me my test results from these weeping, bloody, oozing, pussy rashes. And if y'all want to know what the diagnosis was, y'all know the routine. Be here tomorrow and I will too. Sorry this was kind of a gross one, but I love you all. I love you all for watching, and I love you for the comments. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.